of the satellite. And it has not been enforced, but there are a lot of informal rules there, and that means that the resolution has been degraded for Israel, but there are time delays. For instance, as John Pike ordered images of Area 51. That would be fun having the money to do it yet. And it took only 30 days, and it looked like they really cleaned up the base. And there was not one aircraft outside, and he did a nice time series analysis that you can also see at FAS.org, and how the facility developed, how they put new energy systems and stuff like that. It's really interesting. These shutter control policies will be getting eroded by thermal competition. So the next competitors are outside of the US. The Japanese are working on imaging satellite, the Europeans are working on image satellite, and there are various models of shared military civilian cooperation are being discussed. So it can be expected that this will degrade. For instance, that the Israeli guys will shoot in 85 centimeters satellite. It's way below 1 meter resolution satellite up end of this year, and that will be cheaper in quality than the image stuff. So you can expect that so you can expect that prices are going down, and shutter control policy wouldn't be an issue anymore in a few years. What is interesting is that all these companies are behind their business plans in a way that is not very natural. Obviously, there was an interest in having that kind of stuff delayed for a few years. So both companies, both Western Space and Space Imaging, lost their first satellite, and both of them, which is a little bit unusual. Okay, they were so clever to have really high insurances, so it wasn't really a problem for them, but okay. We also can expect that there are more images are getting declassified. It means that more military imaging programs, the ones after Corona, after 1972, are being declassified, which will be very interesting because these are generally images in the 1 to 2 meter category, which is quite useful. At this time, all three main sources of online-oriented satellite images have their problems with not being compatible with overall, not working all the time with the usual problems. But they're getting up. So at this moment, the Terra survey can, if it works, really order for download the image now and download it now for $29. These are all Russian 1 to 2 meter images, but they're useful for some programs. Unfortunately, there was none of ancient legend justified. Okay, clicker task is another thing that is very important for a lot of people. It means getting, for instance, in times of if they have an earthquake somewhere or some other kind of catastrophe, they want to have the image really, really fast. And what the Israeli guys, the image international guys, are wanting to have a 6-hour tasking capability. It means that if you decide now that you want to have the image, they get it at least 6 hours later. They want to achieve that with the 4-satellite constellation. Okay, resolution will get there. Okay, that was it. I hope it was not too few minutes. Sorry, other computers have been crashed, so I couldn't show anymore. Yeah.
6 hour, you tell us that they will take it. Will they still tell you 70 hours before you can actually get it? Or take it over?
Since it is an Israeli company, it is not under the jurisdiction of shutter control. Probably, if it's not actually about Israel or the Arabian countries or whatever, you probably will get it yet. The altitude is different. A very popular method for imaging satellites is having an elliptic orbit that has its lowest part about 260 kilometers, which is quite low, and the highest part in the 680, 690 kilometers range. They try to have the satellites as low as possible, but not too low to get into atmospheric drag, because if it's high, 100 kilometers, it's still atmospheric particles there, and the satellite also gets in there, it gets even ultimately burned up. So you need a lot of fill into the satellite to keep it continuously pushing up its orbit. The Russians even explored extremely elliptical orbits. They're getting onto the near outer amount of the atmosphere to get even sharper images, but at this moment they stopped that because it's too difficult to control. If you don't know what you're doing precisely and have all the computers and communications capabilities around the Earth, the risk of burning up the satellite is quite high in the system.
Is there some history with Terra server? It seemed they first came up as a demo service with a huge amount of imagery, and then perhaps after the Area 51 thing, they went down. Now they're coming up with new imagery, city by city, and it's really noticeable. For example, Berkeley, California, there's crude deletion of the Lawrence National Lab and things like that. So it does seem that there was some change in how they got their imagery or what they did.
Terra servers interesting question because they ultimately started with the you can buy the image of the garden of your neighbor now approach, and the problem is that they also run out of money like everybody. And what they're doing now is focusing on two markets. One thing is they started the Terra server professional thing, where they can still buy the QVR images and the OpenImage images. And OpenImage has some strange policy of just getting for the cities, imaging the cities, and doing that kind of stuff that nobody understands really. So the only reason that can be why OpenImage is doing that is that they have one big customer that consumes all their tasking time. Because if you look at the financial statements of OpenImage, they're looking quite good, but they're not bankrupt or anything. But they're doing very little public imagery there. That's why I didn't include OpenImage into the presentation, because you simply can buy 25 American boring cities. So, yeah. And even there, you have areas that are excluded, as you correctly. Yeah.
Once you get software, what type of software would you recommend for things
I always try to convince the GIMP people to do something. So far, they're not even able to have GIMP working on OS X. But there is a movement in there, in that area, in the open source community, because there is a lot of open source software called bacteria and stuff like that, which is basically the same thing. You have an object that needs to be counted, so if it's cars or bacteria or houses or whatever, it's the same thing. Yeah, same thing. Yeah. And so there's movement in the area. There's one software package, I forgot the name. That is more or less the open source GIS software, Geographic Information System software, and that has all the plugins for counting things.
What about like sharpening and blurring and stuff like that? Auto correction.
Yeah, you can do the basic things with Photoshop or GIMP, and if you do it for a while, if you're doing this a lot of imagery, you're getting used to what kind of filters to use and get what kind of sharpness tools to use. And you can gradually improve this thing, but don't expect any wonders. It's not like you have seen in the movie that the grainy image and then they play some magic and they can read the license plate. My favorite movie in that kind of respect is Project Peacemaker. Incredible. Where they zoom in on an LKW and on a big car and that's transporting a warhead and having the live imagery and calling the bad guy in the car and he drives there to see the imaging and the license plate. It was really fun, but far from reality.
And it's like little things. Like say, I take pictures, and each picture is a little like line or something.
Yeah.
I'm not going to take up the line. I'll be
Yeah.
say there's something wrong with the net. Say, or any software is wrong with the program. I'll do it. Or say like a contrast, like you want to see the lines without say.
No, I'm not that aware of the things that I did was using GIMP and scripting it. Yeah.
Well, I thought it was very interesting from the hardware point of view, because the ones I was expecting, just like the neighbor here, some comments about the software imaging.
Yeah, the promise that I told you. my computer had yesterday a water damage, and the water was running into my display, and so I salvaged some files from that thing, and I had imaging examples for what can you do with the screen filter, for instance, to do something.
Because I know there's a lot of illegal software.
And yeah, it's not really classified. The promise that you don't find much information in the public domain, and it must do most of the stuff yourself. I've done some of it, and I promise I will put up the presentation on the web with the images from the salvage disk, but I didn't manage to get any computer and so on your system and all that stuff today.
You found suggestions about this program
Yeah, they did. There's an organization, it's called NRO. It's the National Reconnaissance Office, which is the prime organization doing imagery in the United States. And if you look at the publicly available figures about contracts that they put out to software companies, you see that there's a lot of imagery analysis. Or if you look at the DARPA program, they have DARPA is the Defense Advanced Research Programs Agency, and they have a call for projects in various areas. And if you look for in these calls for projects over the years, you see that they are directed to the university community and to all the companies. You see that they have over the years built up a huge investment into projects doing automatic image analysis, doing automatic image enhancement, doing multi-structure combination, doing automatic auto-rectifying, and all the things that you need to automatize and industrialize this process. And these kind of software also always the DARPA contracts is not available in the public domain. As I told you, there are some tools coming up in the public domain area, and there's also some commercial stuff that can be used in universities, but there are these geographical types of developed. But the promise that the goals that these people have, like analyzing landscape or vegetation or whatever, are only partially matching with my interests in that field. So, okay, software to count. My interest is getting to use satellite and aerial imagery for political causes. Yeah. For instance, one thing that John Pike did was not believing the US government, in the North Korean missile problems this year. And he was ordering images of the North Korean missile sites and his own image analysis. He got a lot of criticism for it because he is no professional image interpreter. But so he got a lot of criticism from professional image interpreters saying, okay, you're a stupid guy, this is not that. Have you seen that? And then signed, blah, blah, 35 years image interpreter. Okay, so you can get it badly wrong, but there are a number of things where you can use that kind of stuff, like for political activities and for things where the government simply denies it information, what is there, or the corporation denies it information, what is there. So what I know of this is that a lot of environmental protection agencies or organizations and NGOs are using satellite imagery to analyze disasters in Russia that are not being publicized. For instance, like if you're looking for a big oil leak in a pipeline that is not being publicized, but that you have heard rumors of from the locals, you can easily verify it with satellite imagery and that kind of stuff.
Obviously, governments all over the world have big incentives to keep shut control. Do you know anything about their attempts to keep that shut control? Because if you have a consortium, I can guess that they have an economic incentive to keep the shut control out.
And the charter control thing is like this crypto. What the government is doing is buying time. They know it will happen sometime, that the charter control is getting eroded. But every year that they can maintain it, they can use the time very good for them. So what they're doing there is basically trying to build up a set of relations and informal rules that will replace the charter control business at the time that it will fall. So that, as we have seen in the Israeli area, trying to reduce resolution will not be an option anymore. So It's basically the same thing as with GPS. The US government has agreed to remove the jitter from GPS, from civilian systems, and but under the provision, if there is something really bad going on, you will switch that on. And what is the problem at this moment is there's nothing really bad going on at the moment. So the real effects of shutter control will be seen if something really bad is going on, like if the US decides to bomb Iraq, go back to the Stone Age or whatever, or having some other fishing business in some kind of the world, and nobody can look at. So that's what we see. Look at the moment. The status is everything is peaceful. You can get images, no problem at all. So, but we don't know is what happens if the shit hits the fan.
For instance, that area, you want to think it is what people think it is. You go play inside that side, and they have to be inside. So, in other words,
okay.
you have to perceive it as effectively as you have.
The thing is that US military installations are being or have been used, getting used to the fact that there are imaging satellites out there now for 25 years. And I don't know if you have seen that there's, I think, one leaked fax on the internet. There has been 4 times daily fax service to every military installation in the world, that they get the schedule of any imaging satellites getting overhead. So, and of course that is being moved to the electronic domain now. And the thing is, if you want to keep something secret, it's really secret to do it underground. So that you do it so deep underground that even the radar satellites can't penetrate the installation. So I very much doubt that at any time there was an UFO of Area 51 anywhere. So that is so that. Yeah. No, if there's something like a nuclear catastrophe or something like, for instance, Greenpeace is very interested in this, acquiring the capabilities to detect or at least analyze such an accident in near real time. So that's something that a lot of people are very much interested in. And there were satellite imagery, it was at that time Landsat imagery with 4 meter or 7 meter resolution of Chernobyl, because there was nothing better available, but even on that imagery you could see that this reactor was blowing up. So today, yeah.
It's kind of talk about military and political uses of these things, but there's also a commercial version. You can use these kinds of counter cars for examples of this.
Yeah, for instance, yeah, there are a lot of examples in the city planning thing where even company, cities in Germany, they're buying satellite images of their city to just get hold of who built what building where, because if you know the German word Baugenehmigung, you know that it's not very attractive to try such a thing if you want to do something with your building. And so for instance, Mexico City has ordered twice yearly complete set of imageries from ImageSat, because they just want to keep tab on what is happening in the city. And other companies like McDonald's are determining the density of population, and in order to operate and put up new restaurants, you have things like determining traffic flows, satellite imagery, and building up drive-thrus, operations on the right things. There's a lot of application in determining vegetation problems, like if you're flying over in a field or whatever, with the right combination of infrared and other channels, you can see what kind of crop is going good, what kind of crop is not going good. The US is using regularly thermal imagery to identify coca plantations in Colombia and spray them. And in Germany, they are using helicopters with infrared cameras to identify marijuana planters, and because you can identify the plant by its infrared signature, it's not really a problem. So there are a lot of uses for it, yeah. And news, of course.
Are they 10 centimeter resolution focused around? Just
The the one that I showed you where I showed it is probably in the discussion if it's an aerial image or not. It's about 10 centimeters resolution because these bars from the roof there about. And there are also other leaked images around from for instance, from a Russian installation where they're building up a helicopter warship, warship for helicopters, and that was leaked to Janes, which is something like a specialized military publication. And they published it, of course, and later some guy was being jailed for it because the image was leaked out without being degraded to half the meter resolution and had to be degraded for publication. And from that you can see that it's really 10 centimeters below because you can see very small structures on the ship. So there, if you're looking for these images, you find some on the internet. It's about 5 to 10 that are leaked. Yeah.
What about differential software, like say Mexico? You're not going to go look at the city, look at the differential on it. Because that would be, you know what the software that will run that and show you just figure out these will change.
There is commercial GIS software that precisely does that, but unfortunately I don't have any license, and also the web servers are not very full with GIS software. So I try before buying. And so I can't say very much to that. Yeah, but I know that this software is around. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Subtraction is not really difficult.
Are there any free online sources for low resolution image? So say I give some GPS coordinates and I want to have a low resolution image of that area?
Yeah, what you can try is for instance, the free commercial providers of imagery have all these kind of search engines where you can specify location and look what kind of imagery is there. Usually they have filled up the database all with Landsat and other low resolution image, and like 5 to 7 to 14 meters. And at this moment, it's not the case that you can specify any location on Earth and get an image somewhere in the Archer. That's not the case. But that will be quickly the case because they're running the satellites all the time there. And so, if you're looking at the more interesting areas, the chance is very high that you get an image. If you look at some rural areas, you probably won't find an image except from the Corona images. These are old images from 1972 or something. And these are distributed by a data center called EROS. That's, the data center of the Corona system. Okay, then. I think I will need another week to reconstruct my hard disk and then take a look at www.ccc.de. They will put a link there.